didn't. I understood quite a bit because my husband...
Morning, guys.
Morning. I just sharing, Ronnie, about living in Spain.
I'm so impressed, honestly.
Living the dream.
And no, my husband, I didn't speak hardly anything, but I understood quite a lot. And now, as obviously the years have gone on, I've picked it up, and I can do it, right?
Muy bien.
Gracias.
No. Oh, how wonderful! I'm passionate about people who are passionate.
It's brilliant. Brilliant.
So just to set context, Emma, so you know who Teresa, do you know Teresa from before?
No,
I don't know Teresa, and she's Spanish.
Yeah. So when we were doing the FITBANKER retreat, right, the person that really told me you can go to the embassy and cause them to make a difference was Teresa and my team. And Emma was the person waiting in Spain for me to be there for that retreat. Remember my whole visa saga, Emma?
absolutely.
Yeah.
When my passport had 3 days and the agent wasn't doing it. So that was Teresa really intervened then and said, look, go to the embassy, go and have this conversation. They're very understanding, they're human people. Otherwise, I would have probably thought it's not going to happen.
I remember so clear, so great. Oh, Emma, great. So the retreat happened.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. And another one's happening in January.
It was epic. It was really, really, really good.
In Valencia.
Yeah, in Valencia, in
the mountains.
Madrona, in the mountains.
Wow. And what temperature do we have? Valencia is such a beautiful city. It's one of the most beautiful cities in Spain. I haven't been there, by the way.
Teresa, the topic is going to be
people get
Kilimanjaro. Oh, for January.
Sorry, Emma, go ahead.
Sorry, the sound's going.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The retreat. It's really mild all year round.
Right.
So you probably get around 16, 17 in the day, right?
Yeah.
In January.
Wonderful.
It's cool.
Oh, amazing. We wanted to get here for a long time, and I know it's architecturally, guys, is one of the most precious cities in Spain too. Amazing. And design, yeah.
Come to Valencia.
Yeah. Well, let's have details. I'm sure Ronnie will, and we'll just get people there.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Teresa, the 2018, the start retreat in January is basically similarly themed to the one we did at the end of 2016, which was completing 2016, creating 2017. But the one we're doing in January is basically called Launch 2018, and our focus is on love and relationships. And we're looking to have we're going to have a Kundalini yoga teacher, and it's going to be up in the mountains, and so it's combining body, mind, spirit, and it really, really is epic. Morning, Pam.
Oh, well.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can. Yeah. Okay. We're going to get started.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Okay.
We're just going to get started. I just want to share my screen. Make sure you guys can all see.
Good morning too.
Oh, good morning. I didn't realize. I've seen you speak at Landmark, so I was like, I recognise her.
Oh my God. Okay.
You're the banker, aren't you?
That's it.
Are you a banker?
Ex-banker? Yeah. Well,
all right, guys.
Still a banker at heart. Okay. It's a dilemma for me.
Okay, so guys, welcome. Very quick one. Thanks a lot for being on the Monday morning 7 a.m. call. This call is, let me confirm, it is being recorded for those that miss it so that we can share with them. So we have these. Can you guys see my screen first of all?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we have these Wednesday morning calls for us to really get connected to, what it will be like on this mountain. Part of these calls is to really visually get present to what this entails and really have our participation begin from now, right? This truly is a leadership summit, and it's very distinct from just signing up to climb the mountain. There's an element of climbing a mountain where I found people have done the climb and they've it's just been really empty to them. It was one of those things. And I think it was Einstein who said to something, nothing, to some people, nothing is a miracle. And to some others, everything is a miracle. And we can alter and interpret how we leverage this mountain in terms of, what it can provide us in terms of coaching and our own personal development. And I think it's a phenomenal coach as a mountain that we can learn from. We often talk of, I conquered this mountain or that mountain, but that never truly happens. What happens is we conquer ourselves and a new us emerges. And that truly, authentically underlying everything that's going to go and transpire on this mountain is that someone that shows up on the other side is an entirely new being. And for me, my whole context of any physical feat, and in that time I did it, it was really about interrupting what I could physically do. After Kilimanjaro was when my own health transformation began, because I had created realms of people that are up there that could, do certain things in life, and I put them up there. And then there was me, and I thought, I needed to be a certain caliber before I get to a certain place. And doing Kilimanjaro immediately kind of gave me permission. Nothing really changed other than I created this mountain to be something which, if I could do that, there's a lot and a host of physical feats or anything that I can take on. And a key area I took on was transforming my health. So before we get deep into today's topic, which is discovering our why, what is our why that we want to do this, I want to just quickly recap on prior webinars, the whole visualization and picturing process. If we can visualize and create what we're up to, this is whether it's an area of our life in relationships, whether it's summiting this mountain, and you want to get that right now, you will hold on to vision or picture what it looks like or what you think it looks like you standing at the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro. You may have that visual, and we're supporting you with that way of doing that. Or it may not be clear for you, but you also want to consider and look at that in the area of, say, relationships or your career or your business or parenting or family, that also that vision of what that world looks like. You've never sat down and taken time out to actually look, articulate, and paint out, visualize what that future state looks like that you'd love to create. So that's why we've created these calls to really support that. We're also going to cover various small tips that we can take on from nutrition and prep and other logistics and key announcements. Learn a little bit of Swahili. So we covered a bit last week. I don't think we will have time to go over that, play that song today. So is that a question? Okay. And so in terms of physical prep, there is mental prep, but physical prep, we're still requesting everyone try to get in at least 5 kilometers of a walk daily. We just want your body to be at a certain level of aerobic efficiency, which means your body's got to be used to operating at a certain state of converting food that we consume to energy that we require. We also have a request that once a week that we are pushing ourselves, so 10 to 15 kilometers. And water or liquid consumption is we're going to need to be consuming about 3 liters of water a day. Now, it won't just come out of necessity there if you don't cue yourself. If you're going to go on the mountain thinking, I'll only drink when I'm thirsty, you're likely to underconsume water. What you want to do is you want to drink water because you know that water is being spent whether you feel thirsty or not. And so we need to get into the habit of trying to consume those 3 liters. And we're going to create a cue word that we will use and play on the mountain. If anyone comes up with ideas, please think of them and share them on the chat. It could be anything like every time somebody says amazing, or is that the summit, or mountain, or beautiful, something like that. Whenever somebody says that keyword, it's a cue to have a sip on the mountain. No alcohol from this weekend, so that's very crucial. We don't have our Zambian team here, but some of them need to know that there's no alcohol from this weekend. So that's good news. And it really requires our body to alter our water balance, and alcohol is not going to help that. Also, just to have us alkalize and prime our body. The mental prep, we're going to keep talking, and that's what these calls do. It's exciting, and at the same time, I'm just thinking, wow, there's basically 2 more calls. We have 1 call the day before we fly, which is a final check-in, and 1 more call next week. So next week we'll look to have someone else join our call. So it'll be great to get as many of you join that. Again, reducing our crappy carbs and especially sugar, and controlling caffeine. More so on the mountain, we'll have to have it, 2 times max a day, maybe maximum 3. But it's really because we want to not have it have a diuretic effect on us. Vaccinations, guys, really key. If you haven't dealt with that, please deal with it now. It's not, I'm not going to get any vaccinations. But if any of you guys require this or need to, if you need anti-malarial, please do go and get it. Let's not forget what we're doing. So supporting the charities that we're fundraising for, Able Child Africa and Moving Mountains. And we will get to see some of the work Moving Mountains are doing on the ground. The visualization, keep that alive of what you are creating. Okay, so last week, two calls ago, not last week, we missed last week, was we got to meet and connect with Gavin. Very encouraging to hear from him. Very encouraging to hear from Gavin that we are not training for a marathon. So we don't need to go intense trying to burn ourselves out. Or if we're somebody that has not yet signed up, but you're figuring something out, don't rule yourself out thinking, I've actually not been training. This isn't training for a marathon. So if you've been doing an hour to an hour and a half in the gym, and that puts you under 40 minutes of work whereby your body is getting to convert energy and food and oxygen into energy, then you're making your body into an efficient vehicle which will serve you on the mountain. You could show up the day before. It may just be physically taxing and harder for you, but it's still very doable, is what he was saying, and others I've spoken to. So we were talking about sharing what we're doing. We looked at this beautiful song, which is Jamba Bwana. Guys, if you haven't shotted this, look it up, or look up the song on YouTube channel, Swahili 101. We will be singing this song. We will need loads of games to up the mood and energy, and we will be doing loads of that on the mountain. So we're looking for some amazing cheerleaders. So today, what is it we want to look at today? So we got very quick 20 minutes to go over this. And I want to create context. This is more, possibly more relevant to, not more relevant, but one thing that comes up for me is I have a lot of people joining from Zambia. So they're either joining this call or they'll be listening in on the recording. And something that was really interesting for me is growing up in Zambia, depending on, what you do as a career or profession, or if you're in business, we tended to be associated with a lot of people in the business community, just, by default, by what our parents did, right? And that's also very distinct from Ambi's community, or Ambika, even growing up in Zambia. They were a group of expatriates that worked in the mining sector, and they had their own circle or community of friends as distinct from ours. But those of us in the business community were very, the view of life was simply about getting into business, and it became about focusing on making money. And a number of my friends, those of you on this call or joining from Zambia, are equally in that world. And for a long period, when I came from out of there to the professional world here in the West, I remember doing a lot of interviews. And as I was doing interviews for graduate recruitment, I'd have people have stuff on their CV, and I wondered, why is that there? They did things like Duke of Edinburgh, or they went trekking, or they went and did Kilimanjaro, they did Machu Picchu. And that really altered how this conversation went. That really opened my mind into, wow, what it takes. And we were trained as a graduate recruiter to really, there was rigorous training to go through of how to listen for in the person's speech of what they actually went through in terms of what they gave up, in terms of sacrifice, or in terms of the physical stress or pain, and how a candidate demonstrated, to have them join or be recruited for a very, top Fortune 500 company. You would want to have people of a certain caliber of resilience, a certain demonstration of leadership, a certain attitude where inside the story of their life and their experiences, they aren't at the effect of what's going on, but they take on and embrace whatever challenges or hurdles come their way. And I thought, wow, wouldn't this be amazing if we had something like this back in Zambia? Now, many of you who may have studied out in the West, maybe this was normal for you. Maybe you were part of things like Duke of Edinburgh. Maybe you did have a host of leadership training inside of your universities, or maybe you didn't, right? Maybe this is your phase of life where you're realizing that, you know what, I've always misunderstood leadership as somebody that goes and gets XYZ qualification, or when they get to the top of an organization and they're called CEO or CFO or some fancy title, that's called a leader. And I want you to get that that's a mix-up we have of mixing cause and effect. And what we're committed to here at FITBank is that you all really get your leadership inside of any or whatever area that is. It might be inside of your work. Who you need to be or how you need to show up at work is someone that walks in every day into that building, and you have a context of, you know what, I've always gone to work related to as this place I go from 9 to 5, and I just do what I do, my to-do list, and they swap that with salary, right? So a few of us have had, is that Pamela? A few of us have had that context of, who else have I joined? Awesome. A few more guys join. Welcome on board, guys. Mr. Amir is there, right? So what we have is we tend to go to work, and our context, we lose sight of the vision of the organization. This is an organization which has a role and purpose. As an example, our global game is eradicating lifestyle disease through education, not medication. That's what we're committed to doing. And we have to remember that in every moment. When I'm speaking to a person that is struggling with recording their food, I have to speak to that person remembering my greater why. So my invite to you guys is so easy to come and do this mountain. Like, I want to show people I did Kilimanjaro. I can say that. I promise you that is hollow, and that is, it's okay to say that. It doesn't serve your greater game. And climbing this mountain is a beautiful opportunity to really juice this mountain, juice the experience for really, interrupting your status quo or how you operate either in your career, or it might be parenting. To be great at parenting, you might lose sight of your greater why. Your greater why might be you want to create a world that is environmentally friendly for your kids to grow up into. You might want to create a world that is safe for them to grow into. You might want to create a world that they get to choose any career that they love or passionate about or find they get to add most value in, as distinct from, this is a safe job, go for it, it's paying well. But who you will have to be every day from when your kid's 3, or Kanaya, in this case, 8 months old, I know that as I go out into the world and as I step out and have conversations with anyone from the grocer to somebody in my class at, in a leadership program that I'm doing, or any investor that we're having conversations with, I have to remember in that conversation that this guy is going to have a significant influence on what I'm playing for in terms of parenting, right? I have to stay present to that, and most of us don't. Most of us lose sight of that bigger game. Bear with me, just got delivery, or we did. Guys, sorry for this. I'm scheduled. My wife's ordered a early delivery of groceries. But this is part of leadership. It's how to deal with the unexpected. Ambi. I'm on call as delivery. Can you get it? Okay, so that's leadership. You just get to delegate somebody to take on the hurdles that came up that you didn't plan for. All right, so back to where I was. So I want each of us to really get connected to why, and your why, I'm going to ask you to stretch it. Whatever you presented on that chat, whatever you shared your why was, I want you to really open that up some more. I want you to expand that. And I want you to get it to be a cause greater than yourself. Can I ask you to mute yourself? There's somebody with some background noise. Okay, cool. All right. So it might be in the area of career, might be business, might be family, might be parenting, might be marriage, might be, you know, in an intimate relationship, in finance, time management, communication, or leadership in general. So I'd love to hear from you guys. Please unmute yourself. Share what you're looking to work on or an area you're looking to transform, leveraging the mountain as your coach. Please unmute yourselves, guys, and share. Amir? There's some background noise, guys. Just if you can mute yourself if you're not speaking, but if you're about to speak, go ahead. Amir, go for it.
Well, coming onto this call, I've been hiding out from coming onto these calls or even speaking with you for the last 2 weeks. And what I'm present to now is actually the why of taking on something as extraordinary and ridiculous given the circumstances. As Kili, the why wasn't clear or isn't clear. There's nothing at stake in relation to Kilimanjaro for me. That's what's clear. It's just something to do, pretty much. It was a good idea on the top of Brecon Beacon, and it's a good idea to link that mosque transformation project.
Yeah. So one thing you're getting is that you weren't clear on what that why is.
Yeah, and I'm not clear now. It's not in existence.
Got it. So I'm going to invite you to do this because I loved your project, and I've even spoken of it to other people. I think we talked about it 2 calls ago on this, that what you were up to creating. And I thought that the mosque transformation project was phenomenal. It's phenomenal, right? And you've got to really get connected to what difference or impact that makes out there and recreate why that's your why, right? And distinguish if there's any inauthentic reason why you may have chosen that as your why, right? So we're often at a loss of power or creating or causing what we need to be there. One phenomenal example is, and I shared this guys yesterday on the chat, is who Hannah is, what she's doing, what she's playing to create a game. She's presented with the same and a host of hurdles that we are presented with, but she's really, really driven by, I'm clear, I'm doing this. And so she's got a lot to cause between now and then. Okay, I'd love to hear from somebody else. One more person to share their why.
Can I just share one?
Yeah, sorry, Amir, go for it.
Can I share one more thing about the inauthenticity?
Yeah, please do.
I think what had me come on the call this morning is that sentence on how you do anything is how you do everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a punch in the morning at 7 o'clock before I needed my tea. So when I don't get what I want, you asked me a question.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. There was just some interference from your end, but go ahead.
When I don't get what I want, unless I'm conscious of it, and unless I'm creating it in conversation with somebody else, I trash the possibility. Literally, I trash the possibility. So, in regards to the mosque project, the mosque project was a mosque project the Moss project from a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
I attached it to when I was in the mountains. So how am I going to make Kili happen? I can't afford it right now. Hey, let's raise money for the Moss project, and part of it can be I pay for my Kili trip. And a couple of people pointed out that that doesn't work for them. They won't. The Moss, my Kili trip, the Moss project.
Yeah.
On one hand, there was me it occurred to me that I got caught out for doing something inauthentic, and then I didn't get what I want, and I just went just dismissed it. I thought, oh, I didn't quite dismiss it. I just justified it. I'll deal with it in a bit.
Got it. Okay, got it. It's brilliant to share that. I'll come on to that point in a second. Is there somebody else who'd love to share their why?
I'll share, Ronnie.
Oh, yeah, go.
No,
right.
go, Teresa.
Okay, I'll just say very quickly, Emma, is that you? Just very quickly that for me, it really is a question of resilience. So I really am about delivering leadership in the corporate world, which is my background, but also in my personal life, be it in my relationship with my daughter, be it in my relationship with my ex-husband, be it in my relationship with a partner. And I know that just taking part in Kilimanjaro is going to be an incredible space to build resilience and love, really. I know that already. And so that would be an incredible, powerful space. Yeah, I just wanted to say that. And guys, I'm still working on it, whether I can be on that plane.
Sorry, but right now?
And right now, I'm still working on the fact whether I can be on that plane, because I've got various things going on, from work to a house that is being refurbished and so on. And I'm not quite clear whether I will be with you, but the intention, I know that the climb will be just an incredible, powerful place for him and me personally as an individual in my own leadership. Yeah. I have no doubt about it.
Yeah, got it. What you share about the resilience is beautiful in your personal life and in the corporate space. On this mountain, and Gavin, who's coming, he references the movie Minimalist. If you look at the movie Minimalist on Netflix, he's going to talk about on this mountain, we will learn what it will take to really, in life, we're left to our bare essentials, ultimately us. And what you carry in your backpack to get you through every day is ultimately, that's all that we need to get us through all areas of life. And we're going to learn that, not all the other materialistic gimmicks and gadgets around us. And what you require in who you're being with your ex-husband, with your daughter, in the corporate world, you will find there will be moments where in the corporate world, when you're up to creating something, you may be sneered at, laughed at, joked about, ignored, disregarded, not paid attention to, and you have to continue to stay clear on what that vision is that you're doing. And I'm going to leave you with this in what Amir distinguished in how you do anything is how you do everything. How you're going to play from here to now to getting on that flight, and I'm not saying that you have to get on that flight, I'm saying that you get clear of your want and your why, right? The same what it will take for you to be between here and on that flight is the same thing that's going to take for you to go from base of Kilimanjaro to summit, right? And it's how we're going to, most of all that we process in life is going to require us to require clarity, to making power on choice, to making a call, to acting aligned with that commitment. So, beautifully shared. For Amir, on your point around the inauthenticity, that's another thing on this mountain. No matter how athletic or fit we are, there's a guru called altitude, and altitude is going to can really humble the fittest of us, right? You have to think about this. The tennis player Navratilova didn't get to summit this, and that happens with many Olympians and athletes. So we might be great in one other area of life. I may not summit. Gavin may not summit. It's kind of like a lottery. One of the guests I'm looking to have is somebody that led another leadership expedition like this, and he himself was going to fold. And he really told me, if you don't get your team to get connected to their why, they will go down on day 4. We had that in the last climb. We had that one person go down, and nothing wrong with that. And you don't have to summit. And we're going to talk about that. You don't need to summit the mountain, but coming to climb Kilimanjaro itself is going to be very transformational up to the moment that you go far on the mountain. Okay, so what is the mountain going to provide us in terms of our why? Is actually, I'm wondering whether
Ronnie, I think sorry, Ronnie, I think Emma wanted to share to say a word.
Yeah, Emma. Emma, are you there? Are you unmuted?
Yeah, I'm there, but I'm conscious. I'm conscious that we're on time, so I'm happy not to, because I shared in the group, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I got yours, and also I'm just mindful of time as well. So thanks, Emma. We got your share of what you're looking to transform, and I'm going to offer you some points as well for that from here, and get connected to that. And I'm going to invite you as well, if you need to stretch what that why is. Let's distinguish what it will take, and look at where what the mountain will provide us is missing inside of that area that we look to transform. So for many of us, it may just be the first point. With Kilimanjaro, right from day 1, and it happens early in the morning, when we don't see it for most hours later on in the day, is that clear, vivid vision of what that summit looks like. You can see in this image, it's an image of a cloud clouding over that top, and we can't see that. And that happens at certain points. Our vision gets cloudy, and we suddenly feel lonely. Getting to our top, or getting to transforming, in Emma's case, the area of finances, and you really want to get that you can be somebody that shows up in the area of finances that is very unfamiliar to you, right? Or who you are in family, or who you are in the area of anything that I put my mind to, I can do. The person that's going to show up on the other side, or post Kilimanjaro, is going to be an unfamiliar being that's going to show up in all these other areas. It's not a straight line to the top. We are going to go through physical and altitudinal ups and downs. We will emotionally and physically be going through great days, and you might have a really bad day. And I'm going to invite you guys to remember this point. You will have a bad day, and that bad day does not mean go back down. That bad day means rest and sleep that night, and be open to getting and considering that who you will be tomorrow can be an entirely new being that will show up. So any of you that are on this call, or we have Charlene right now who's unwell, there's a message to her as she listens to it on recording, is she can spring out of that tomorrow, and you will really find that happening on the mountain. There's a lot of teamwork makes the dream work, right? So who we are and how we show up amongst the group dynamics, if we get connected to everyone's purpose, and that we are, I'm on the mountain having Teresa accomplish her game, or having Emma accomplish her game, or Amir accomplish his game, that I have to be a certain way so that this guy gets to alter, the role of mosques, the project that is creating to transform mosques, and the role they can play in community, right? And I have to stand in that his why is mine. So, I'm part of his team to get him to where he wants to get to. We will be physically spent on this mountain, but physical is so far, it goes out early, much earlier than our mental. So get connected to that. We will learn from this mountain what it's like to be out of resources, but that should not take away from resourcefulness. A very simplistic example, but you will experience this different on the mountain, was when we were doing Brecon Beacons, we had people run out of water, and that was partly because we got lost. And inside of that, people anyway carried less water than we had required, and it's very easy to just be at the victim of that scenario. Nobody was going to die. Nobody was on a dehydration state. But we simply asking a passerby, sharing with them, they give you a whole bottle, which you get to share with everyone. So that's the resourcefulness kicks in by, I'm not sure if it was Simran or Pam or who it was that made this request. That really, was a game changer in the last hour of that trek. communication under stress. We will learn this one phenomenally. On the mountain, I promise you, and you can tell us now if you're somebody that gets really hard to be with when it starts getting stressful, that is going to be on a 10 times magnifier on the mountain. I promise you this, your authentic self will emerge on this mountain. And what I mean by that is you might have certain conversations or views and interpretations of me or somebody else in this group or something on the mountain, and you're very polite and you look nice here. And then on the mountain, there's no holding back, right? And so if I'm going to say, come on, Pam, you can do this, all the French words will come out and she'll be like, that may happen. And for some people, that's what we want to develop, is how do we continue to operate at a certain capacity, right? So how do we manage to stay calm when the world around us is collapsing? I remember when we did it last time was shortly after the recession, and JP Morgan came out as one of the stars because a lot of banks started collapsing, but you had people like JP Morgan were the go-to that the government went to, or the federal bailout fund. They went to JP Morgan to have them get out by this bank, Wells Fargo, other banks that went down, or Lehman Brothers building. Those were things that, in being calm under stress, showed up as opportunities for them to bolster up and strengthen their team. So other banks got, bought into the larger banks that were calm and were able to communicate clearly under stress, the Bear Stearns and the various other ones. And ultimately, all this is all building blocks to our leadership. There is so much we can learn from being here, where our human body is going to be physically finished and it's going to require a greater why. Okay, so that said, guys, I'm going to leave you with that. I want you guys to get there. If you haven't really thought about your why, sit down and type it out for us. Put it on the chat and share it with people. The more we share it out there, the more this is going to be real. There are a few key logistical updates that I want you guys to do. So between now and the challenge, everyone, there's still people that haven't bought that one or two things. I might need to buy one or two things because my last piece of gear, I have a lot of oversized stuff, which I now need to reset, to need to buy an updated one. So just want to check. So what we're going to ask is everyone take a photo of their gear laid out, which is right from your undergarment up to the fifth layer of gear looks like on a full day. You need to list that out. Share what you see is missing or what you remembered from a prior trek, that I forgot this or I forgot to do this. There's going to be little stuff, both men and ladies. Any with long hair, remember we're not going to per se water wash for about 4 or 5 days. Maybe most of us, not all 7 days. I tended to, we're requesting a little portable shower, and I'll probably dare myself to shower till day 3 where it gets really cold, just to experience my body being under that temperature, because I just love doing stupid things. Otherwise we'll be using wet wipes. But your hair, people were plaiting their hair last time, so you want to think about that. If you need to schedule that in for next week or the week after, do that, get your hair plaited. Really makes a difference, makes it quicker to keep it cleaner. Toenails, very important thing. It sounds like a small thing, but this can make the whole difference of your experience. Last time we did Kilimanjaro, there's a lady that said, I've just come down, never doing that again. And her reason was she lost 6 or 7 toenails. So I'd invite you guys to do that. If you have extra nights, so you're coming in early, you need a room alone, please let Adventure Alternative know. Download their app. It's called Vamoose. User ID Adventure Alt and password FITBANKER, one word. There's no space, pardon that error. Okay, I'm going to have to leave you there because this is about to cut this call. Strength grows in the moments when you think you can't go on, but you keep going anyway. So keep playing, guys. If you're still causing and creating you to be on Kilimanjaro, play, reach out to us, give us a call. Our greatness emerges in these last moments. All right, guys, going to love you and leave you with that. Have a powerful day. And
Thank you so much.
See you later. Speak next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good day. Bye.
Okay, thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.